A gunman has shot dead 15 people at a school in central Russia in one of the country's deadliest mass shootings in recent years. 11 children are among those killed at a school in the city of Izhevsk. Mobile phone footage shows panicked staff and pupils, one of them bleeding heavily, fleeing the building. The gunman, who was in his 30s, was a former pupil at the school. Russian journalist and international relations commentator Rustem Safronov joins us now from Russia to tell us a little bit more about this tragedy that's played out. Rustem, thanks for joining us. What more do we know about this shooting? We know that this man is in his 30s and a former student. Anything else?
Well, first of all, we already got information that 14 people died as a result of that attack, unfortunately. And one of the boys in the hospital is in critical condition. So we don't know would he survived or not. Regarding the gunman, he had a sign in his ammunition with the word hatred. So they found a message what he sent into the school a few minutes before he entered that with a threat of commit a horrible act and saying let's have no any political context or implications, it's just a pure hatred. Additionally, we know that man was under supervision in psychiatrical dispensary, in psychiatric ward. So he was mentally unstable. But unfortunately, it is a problem of contemporary civilization and relaxation of different rules in Russia regarding of weapons. So in the Soviet Union, it used to be under very strict control. It was very difficult to obtain weapon. But now, of course, with the development of the internet, people could buy fairly easily a traumatic weapon, which use a plastic bullet or rubber bullet and redesign it with a little bit of effort, usage of the internet instruction into that real assault weapon, so with real bullet. That's what so far we know about that tragedy. Peter?
Is there no checks and balances to make sure that people that don't have mental issues are able to get guns?
I mean, to get a real gangs in, for example, hunter stores for them, impossible. They need to bring documentation from a doctor, which would indicate he's mentally stable and so on. But to obtain traumatic weapon, you can buy that in the legal market fairly easily. In control over the traumatic weapon is not so strict as over the real weapon. As far as I know, that guy redesigned gas weapon or whatever, like rubber bullet weapon into the real one, usage instruction, which he got from internet. He was obsessed, I guess, with the idea of the hatred and revenge. As far as we know, he also, long time ago, was studying in that school and obviously had some kind of like severe phobias over whatever his past or something, his demons, whatever, tormented him inside and pushed him to do that.
So the tragedy also is that this sadly is not the first time that school shootings have happened before in recent years.
Local legislators in that area in Udmurtia Republic, which is Izhevsk, is the capital of Udmurtia Republic, where Udmurtian people live together with the Russians. They think probably Russian National Guards should nowadays, at least in that area, maintain the guarding of the schools. I don't know whether it's happened or not. So far, only couple private guards from special agency, private security agency, guarding the schools, but they don't have with them any weapons. They're able only to push alarm button, and in this case, armed people would come to help, but usually it's too late. And the problem of easy access into the different schools and kindergartens, it is problem still in contemporary Russia, although things changed since Soviet time, much more stricter now. You cannot just enter the building, which was before regular cleaning lady only would defend entering in the school, and it was safe because it was a very different environment. Was no violence of that sort, armed violence, especially against kids in the Soviet Union.
Has President Putin said anything about this latest incident?
No, not yet. As far as I know, I didn't hear any official statements over that yet. Probably only letter of condolences, but I cannot make sure, not be sure about that. So.
Yeah.
Under the circumstances which is right now, special operation and so on, just a lot of things going on.
This incident, as you said, this is a lone gunman, no political issues, and probably more leaning towards mental health issues. But I see that earlier in the year, Russian security services pointed to a group called the Columbine Movement, which according to them were linked to shootings at Kazan and Perm attacks. Is there a problem about groups being part of shootings apart from this one?
Yes, now with the development of internet, we're seeing, different people gather over the various reasons in the net and create groups. And one of this, actually, that man also had something, sign, I forget, and he's like a shirt or something like with a sign, Columbine, as some kind of indication or whatever. Or he had the name Dylan and Eric, the name of youngsters who committed the Columbine massacre. So he wanted to repeat that. Yeah, different sort of self-destructive groups exist in the internet. There used to be Blue Whale, which is try to stimulate kids to commit suicide, and it was prohibited, and the organizer of these groups were prosecuted. So now we had that groups which called Columbine followers only recently was prohibited and declared as an extremist group by our investigative committee. So I would say, whatever, it's a sickness of contemporary civilization, just a lot of people watching different sort of stuff over the internet and getting different messages and whatever, living in a troubled political environment. They sometimes lead towards different kind of radical decisions, and sometimes not even creative decision. No, they don't even want any positive message. Like they don't want to destroy society to build something new. They just want whatever to throw out, express their aggressions, their frustrations. And yes, it is a problem. I mean, I would say it's very much American illness, which right now Russia is infected as well. So we became like, not so much yet, but getting much more similar to like United States about that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it sounds also very tragic. Are the authorities, I guess, I mean, the challenge is, even if they clamp down on gun laws and make them harder, it is those that are able to buy these things in the black market and on the streets, that becomes difficult to control.
It is much more a matter of values in society, general environment society, what official propaganda is saying, and whatever, like how people spending their time, how people, what kind of upbringing they're getting. That's all get reflection, how much whatever social frustration people have, and in what kind of deviated direction they could move. Don't forget, like last 30 years after the destruction of Soviet Union, it's used to be very troubled years. And our new generations, a lot of them didn't get systematic discipline and whatever, like getting good values, because they could see a lot of destruction, two Chechen wars, rise of the criminal activity in 90s. So all of the things, of course, have a reflection in people. And only nowadays, governments start to put attention towards the different kind of special programs for the youth, how to discipline, you create different organizations. Because before, like in 19th and the beginning 2000, was really no any attention to the youth. So, and mental health issues, different stories. Yeah, I guess it's have to be a very strict control over different mentally sick people not getting any access to destructive weapons.
Rustem, thank you very, very much indeed for that update. Thanks for your time.
Always pleasure to communicate with you, Peter. And good luck.
Thank you. Good night. All right. Artem Kazantsev is the shooter, 34 years old. Apparently he had 2 pistols when he carried out this attack. And then after he killed now 14 people, he turned the gun on himself and he shot himself. They say that they found him wearing a Nazi T-shirt. So a T-shirt with a Nazi emblem. The president has commented through his spokesperson saying that this was an inhuman terrorist attack.